So Solana price tag 2030, what is it going to be? That's the big killer question, right? Everyone's following Solana. Keep watching this video to the end. I'm going to explain why VanEck are predicting a high price tag for Solana in 2030. If you're not subscribing to the channel, please hit that bell notification for a subscribe, but also update the bell notification for getting the messages for these videos for the future. So like, share, comment, subscribe, do all you can to help me build this channel even further and bring further news to you. What is the news in Solana? Well, let's have a look. Things have been happening out there. I came across this really interesting video, which I'm going to share to you in a minute, but just a bit of an information from VanEck, who's a maiden leading house within a financial world, for those that don't know. And they've done a price prediction back in October 2023, but they're still maintaining the value of this cost and what they're basically predicting for Solana to be in 2030. So let's have a look at what they've come up with. So they've given basically a bear case, a bull case, but also they've given the base case, the bear case, and the bull case, and the valuation. And this is comparing basically Ethereum to Solana. So it's really interesting to have a look. And again, this is back in 2023, but yes, it sounds like it's out of date, but it's not, because actually they're still standing by these price predictions. So have a look down here. And for those who don't know about Solana, obviously you're competing with quite a lot of layer one chains out there. But when you compare it to people like the big market players on the scene, people like Ethereum, you look at even Celestia, they're beaten that. Now, what is interesting with Solana is, for those, again, who don't know, you've got the FireDancer update being deployed, which is basically increasing the TPS, the transactions per second. So, you know, you've got other big players that have come into the market, and I'm actually reviewing these people as well. Sui, Raoul Paul's on the board. If you haven't seen a video about that, check it out. It's really interesting to kind of understand what Sui is doing. But this is about Solana, and it's really understanding where VanEck came up with this report in 2023. Really interesting, because look, they're looking at basically the data throughput in comparison, you know, to these different brands in megabytes. And with the FireDancer, they're going to be the leading brand, as in Solana, on speed, which is fantastic. But what is really interesting is when you look at the actual price, the valuation overview by 2030 predicted by VanEck. And as I said to you in the opener, we're going to play a video in a minute from a guy, one of the chief analysts at VanEck, and they explain a bit more information about what their view is on releasing a spot ETF potentially in Q1 2025. Sorry. So it's on the horizon, but we'll play that video. Stay to the end, and we'll explain that. But look, if you have a look at this, the base case that they're coming up with at VanEck is basically looking at $335 by 2030. And obviously, this is all subject to change depending on how much volume of projects and brands hit the Solana chain, right? So if you've got a lot more projects coming up in 2024 at the end of this year, but also 2025 to 2030, or 2030, then it just goes to show really what is their position and their mindset as a leading investment house and where Solana is going to be. And especially if they're going to be releasing a spot ETF, that is huge. So yeah, going back to this. So basically base value, they're looking at $335. Bear case, if everything goes out the window and the bear hits the fan, $10. But then bull case, 3,211, which is kind of touching on close to where Ethereum is today. So really interesting news on that. And I just thought it kind of paints the picture as where are we at with Solana? Where is Solana going to be going? It's really, really, really interesting. But now let's have a look at this video that was just published recently with VanEck and the guys at Mill.
In your investments. I want to touch on the Sol ETF that you guys applied for in June, I believe, was when you applied for that. Correct me if I'm wrong. And based upon your application, the way I understand it is you would get a decision sometime in Q1 2025. Any update on your application for the Sol ETF? What do you think the likelihood of this would be, and what made you guys apply for it?
I'll take the last one first because that's the easiest. What made us apply for it is that we have high conviction that Sol is one of a very small handful of L1s that could end up with 80% market share and be money. Generally speaking, the SEC stance on digital assets has not changed since VP Harris took over the candidacy for president. And as a result, listeners should not expect any Solana ETF until the administration changes. Our application is not currently live, so there is no deadline for the SEC to make a decision. Stay tuned for an update on our end to move that forward.
So what is interesting is when you look at that, you actually start to think, hold on a minute, what is going on with Solana? What's going on with VanEck, and what are their plans for next year, 2025? But then taking up the price tag, they've got high conviction in Solana, especially now they're going to be looking at releasing this spot ETF for Solana. So bit of news about Solana, bit of a price tag on there. Please like, share, and comment below. Give us a bit of information, and look forward to seeing you soon.